Awareness and consciousness are ways of being. You are self-aware, that is, you recognize yourself as a distinct being that is you. You are self-aware because your brain is developed enough to be able to process information it receives from the senses, and to draw a conclusion that you are you. That you exist, and that you are a person. The extent of awareness differs from human to human. Some humans are aware of their own existence, their feelings, emotions, sensations. Other humans are aware of the sources of their emotions and sensations. Some humans act out automatically when affected by an impulse, others are aware of being affected, aware of the impulse, aware of their reactions. Some people just say whatever crosses their minds. Other people are aware of their thoughts, aware of how they conceptualize, analyze and come to conclusions. Possibly those differences in levels of awareness are caused by the differences in brain development. The more creased the frontal cortex, the more insightful, present, aware a human would be. There are some humans, however, whose awareness exceeds their own bodies and their own minds. There are some humans who are aware of other humans. There are humans who are aware of the emotions and feelings of those around them. There are humans who can pick on the thoughts of others. There are humans whose awareness extends even further. They become aware of nature, trees, animals, energies. There are humans whose awareness exceeds their minds and the physical world related by physical senses. There are humans who are aware of the underlying nature of all existence. Those humans are commonly called enlightened. Given that it is possible for a human to be aware beyond the human body, beyond the human mind, beyond any body, beyond matter itself, it suggests that awareness is not a product of the brain. If awareness was a product of the brain, it would likely be limited to the brain and to information the brain receives from the senses and is capable of processing. Such is not the case. The awareness that experiences beyond the mind, the awareness that appears to be completely unlimited, endless, all-pervading and all-encompassing, the awareness that appears to be a fundamental essence of creation, is sometimes called consciousness. It is also called God, soul, spirit, etc. This consciousness is featureless. It has no characteristics. It doesn't exist in a physical, material form that humans recognize as a part of their reality. For this reason, this consciousness is impossible to define, to describe, to explain. It is, therefore, impossible to answer the question, what is it, because an answer to this question does not exist. Yet humans experience this consciousness, therefore the human mind tries to conceptualize it, define it, understand it, because that is what the mind does. That is its function. But the mind can't possibly understand. The only way this consciousness can be experienced is in the course of a direct experience. One must become aware of the consciousness, and one can only become aware of it when one is not limited, controlled and encompassed by the mind. This experience can only happen when the mind is put aside. Trying to understand consciousness and awareness engages the mind, indulges the mind, involves the mind. Involving the mind is what makes it impossible to directly experience the consciousness. For this reason, trying to understand consciousness is not only completely futile, but it directly prevents one from experiencing the consciousness. In the Dutch language, awareness and consciousness are named zijn and bewustzijn. Perhaps you notice that in these two Dutch words, zijn, or being, is present. If you transform these Dutch words a little bit more into the English language, you could say, zijn equals being, and bewustzijn equals to know being a being. So in the Dutch language, consciousness and awareness are not two words but one word which is expanding to knowledge about itself. In this way of thinking, consciousness is awareness being aware of awareness. Like two same mirrors reflecting each other, boundless and pure out of time and space. Since this process is fully accepting everything, awareness being aware of itself, there is no ordeal and nothing is left without. There is in this primordial process of awareness transforming to consciousness only a total yes, and there is a total absence of no, based on an ordeal which separates the one to two. This ordeal is simply not yet formed to work with. So the first notable result in the first creation of consciousness out of awareness is, I am love. In this logic, the base of universal existence is self-awareness, action and love. On the level of awareness transitioning aware to consciousness, there is no existing matter since there is no space or boundary already formed. It is not a material process, but it is a spiritual one. Would this process be already present in a human, this human would say, I know, I love, I do by the grace of me, and that's all there is to do. I have no desires to do else, since this is who I am. Theoretical, this is not possible in time, since on this level nothing has transformed to nothing and only created a love quality for further exploration. The word further introduces time. On this level of reasoning, a lot of science and religion can help you to become more precise and suitable to your own thinking. The acceptance of the love quality as a base of the universe has generated a lot of spiritual movements. The acceptance of holistic actions out of time and space, like reasoning about the coherence between singularity, synchronicity and duality, has generated a lot of science. Feel free to explore the books of both revelations of the human mind. Consciousness and awareness are somewhat synonymous. They are not very different from each other. You can understand them this way. Consciousness results in awareness, and not vice versa. Moreover, consciousness is associated with an innate intelligence, and it is this intelligence which brings about awareness and a distinction or understanding of what you are aware of. Awareness depends on your sensory apparatus. For us it is our five senses, and of course our inner bodies, astral body and mental body, which consciousness is a property of life or the life essence in us. Awareness is a result or response of the interface or exchange of information between our sensing apparatus, our five sense, and the intelligence contained in our consciousness. When you observe something, it is sheer observation or witnessing. But, what is the you that has observed? The you is consciousness, it is your consciousness. So it is your consciousness that ultimately observes. Then it is the intelligence associated with the consciousness which brings about an awareness that you have observed so and so thing. So, you become aware. A piece of rock or stone, or say a tree or even an animal, is also witnesses or is observing the same thing, but it remains unaware or partly aware of what it has observed. But a human being in the same circumstances will have a different level of awareness, because of his greater consciousness. Let me make this simple with an example. Suppose a rock witnesses a volcano erupting. It will not become aware of the eruption, though it may be witnessing it. Suppose a tree witnesses the same volcanic eruption, it will have a sense of unease from its limited awareness. Its awareness is only limited to the astral world or emotions, and it will feel a little disturbed or uneasy but cannot translate this uneasy emotion to anything. A dog watching it will probably run for shelter, not understanding what is happening. A man will know it is volcanic eruption and will know how to act or respond. They are all different levels of awareness, and this sense of awareness is brought about from its innate intelligence, which in turn is a result of its consciousness.